Hi, welcome to Truthpoints, lifting the media veil, revealing the facts. Today, we'll look at Truthpoint number 106, which I call Snowflake banking, or the idea of take 10 twice. I'm Mark. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, this is Truthpoint 106, and today we're going to talk about what I call Snowflake banking, or the idea of take 10 or take 10 twice, and documenting the banking and economic collapse that's going on right now in the United States. I'm calling this Truthpoint Snowflake banking because as bank customers, we're each unique individuals, and like snowflakes, our eyes are trained forward on our own relationship with our own bank. We just see ourselves. We're oblivious, however, to the falling that's going on, and we're ignoring our collective influence and power. As single snowflakes, we're proud of our individuality, but we don't see our importance, and I hope to nudge your sight to a new perspective, that a lot of snowflakes make a big blizzard. Today, together, we collectively can stop the insane illusion of powerlessness that banks will have us believe, and instead, easily and fluidly assert our collective weight to rein in an oppressive top-heavy system of financial control. This process is long overdue. Banks need to be humbled, downsized, and completely re-engineered to serve banking customers and not the profit of their upper management. Banks have lost sight of their place in the world of business. They were conservative, trustworthy stewards of depositors' cash, and they should be hometown lenders to small business, which is the greatest source of employment, to grow our national and local productivity and employment. Banking, like any business in a vibrant economy, though, must constantly reinvent itself and its value in the marketplace, or else be replaced by a better idea. There's no place in a free marketplace for any business to be deemed too big to fail, especially when that implies involuntary rescue participation by ordinary citizens to this one sector, leaving others to sink or swim on their own merits. Moreover, the rule of law only works when it's applied universally to everyone. Corporations are reflections of their human leaders who make conscious choices and need to be accountable to citizens, society, and the law for the consequences of their actions. There's no precedent in lawful human existence for one industry to be exempt from prosecution for blatant and admitted wrongdoing, which goes on right now in the banking industry. Recently, legislation has been put into place that defines most of us, that's us depositors, as bank creditors. If you don't believe me, read your bank agreement, the fine print. In our role as bank depositors, because we receive paltry interest payments, they're viewing us as their creditors, someone that they owe money to. As such, we are now legally bound to be personally liable for bank losses because of our deposits. This is unacceptable, particularly because the half-dozen largest U.S. and European banks have derivatives exposure 10, 20, or even 50 times the amount of deposits that we've entrusted them with. A slight change in the wind can blow over the fragile balance and jeopardize the safety and security of our deposits. As the Greeks recently experienced, banks can close for days or weeks, and withdrawals can be limited or stopped at whim. We could be placed in a situation of limited access to cash that is rightfully ours, and this will all be by events beyond our control. As a means of stoking the failing economy, the Federal Reserve is also considering negative interest rates, which are already in place in Europe. And that would impose a cost on depositors to keep money in the banking system. Only a certified moron would keep funds in a holding arrangement that guaranteed a loss of their capital. So the coming legislation will attempt to limit and outlaw cash so that we become beholden to the banking system. I suggest that this is the last straw of insanity and that each of us, as individual snowflakes, assert our collective influence and just say no to banks. We can create our own blizzard, one depositor at a time. As a disclaimer, I'm not giving financial advice to anyone. I'm offering my views for your evaluation and consideration. You be the judge. As previously stated in past Truth Points, our deposits are not functionally insured at all by the FDIC, as those placards state. The footnote should read, FDIC, insured by only 3 cents on every $100. Increasingly, to offset 0% interest by the feds, banks have turned to risky and speculative investments to increase their profits and returns. And this places the deposits of those banks at risk, especially if banks exercise new laws that allow them to bail in, which is a polite word for seize, depositors' money. It's becoming more difficult to actually withdraw and hold your own money, if you think about it, as federal laws raise the documentation required and lower our withdrawal limits. This is for our own money. This, of course, is for our own protection, just in case there are terrorists. So truth point number 106, which I call Snowflake banking, or take 10 twice, works as follows. I'm considering the advantages of holding cash. About 10%, I think, would be the right amount of my deposits. Since ATMs and teller withdrawals are increasingly limited and restricted, I would encourage you to consider two things. 1. For liquidity and personal convenience, withdraw and hold at least 10% of savings in cash. It can't possibly earn less in your own hand than banks currently pay. And think of the flexibility that you'll gain. And number 2, as any investment advisor will suggest, take about 10% of investments and put them into precious metals, gold and silver. These two metals have been used as money for the past 5,000 years or so. The U.S. dollar Federal Reserve note has only been around in its present form since about 1971. Gold is a great store of value, and silver, at a lower price, is an excellent insurance policy against potential and likely dollar devaluing, inflation, or outright collapse. So that's it. A short truth point this time. A simple plan. Snowflake banking. Take 10 twice. Evaluate it for yourself. See if this makes sense. Everyone is different, unique, and your situation is unique. But as a simple thought, however, consider the take 10 idea. Again, take 10% of your deposits out of an increasingly unstable and adversarial banking system and hold on to it as cash. I know you know how to do that. Stuff it under your mattress, buy a safe, or you can Google hiding places if you want to get a creative idea from the internet and perhaps the work criminals. This one small snowflake move might just empower you to have some choices if the banks get into trouble, if there's a financial event, or even if there's just a storm. Remember that during Hurricane Sandy a few years ago, gas stations and grocery stores were not accepting plastic. Be prepared. Keep your options open. The second take 10 twice thought is to take 10% of your investments and put them into precious metals. Silver and gold happen to be amazing bargains right now, especially silver. And you can buy bullion or U.S. minted silver eagles for the lowest prices in a dozen years. You can take some of your stock market profits right now, while the market's high, and sell them. Your broker won't ever tell you to invest in precious metals because he or she doesn't make a commission on it. But think about putting your hard-earned money into something tangible for a change, something that you can hold that will not be subject to inflation or the gyrations of the stock market. Think of it as insurance, not investment, the type that you have on your house or car. So take 10 twice. Be a snowflake, asserting beauty and power. Take back control of your money. Refresh your memory what it feels like to have cash in your hand and to hold the real money of precious metals. Assert your independence and control. Each of us are snowflakes, but collectively we can be a blizzard. Consider being above the blizzard and not buried by it. This is Mark. Thanks for listening.